Nihilism in television. I don't think a label like nihilism can be avoided, at all. If your art is even slightly gritty or dark, it will latch onto it, whether it's a film, a TV show, or a book. All throughout history, nihilism has been a slur. It's been used to describe things that are considered grotesque, anarchic, suicidal, and dark. And that's left it murky and ill-defined. So, today's topic is how do shows employ nihilism and how does it manifest? The current wave of shows are all examples of what I call character-driven nihilism. This is where the show's themes of despair and meaninglessness all hinge on one or more characters.
The universe is a cruel, uncaring void. The key to being happy isn't to search for meaning, it's to just keep yourself busy with unimportant nonsense, and eventually you'll be dead.
And it usually plays out the same way too. Have the rebellious nihilistic characters say or do something contrary to the conventions of their world, and don't let it backfire significantly.
Jerry's going to spend some time divorced.
I'm sorry to hear that, sweetie. I hope I had nothing to do with that.
Oh, God, Dad, that is not your burden to bear.
But the nihilism stops there because the shows appeal to grander narratives. In Rick and Morty's instance, the grander narrative is family. Rick loves his family, even going as far as to get imprisoned for their freedom. In the first season of True Detective, Rust Cole encounters compassion from his partner and the two engage in a constant struggle between light and dark. But when you have nihilism clashing too much with the grander narratives, it gets awkward. The rebellious character ceases to have any worthwhile opposition and can't proclaim the moral high ground either. For example, Rick fights off every antagonist with ease. You never once fear for him because he's able to think up plans to get out of his predicament. Or he's invincible even though he's 60 years old. And when he says things like,
Listen, Morty, I hate to break it to you, but what people call love is just a chemical reaction that compels animals to breed.
then this reaching for nihilism or radicalism becomes just as silly as the convention it seeks to undermine. But hinging nihilism onto the characters is just lazy. Every screenwriter can write a nihilist character, and every screenwriter can express despair or contrarianism through snappy dialogue. So, how does a show successfully establish nihilism outside the characters? To find out, let's turn to I think Black Mirror has 4 aspects that makes it the perfect carrier of nihilism. Firstly, the overarching nihilism in Black Mirror finds itself in the show's formal structure. Black Mirror is an episodic anthology, which means it switches cast and storylines at every new episode. And this is a different approach from a show like American Horror Story, where the same stories and characters appear throughout an entire season. Black Mirror's quick changing cast makes the characters empty vessels to drive forward the plot. And it renders the characters useless and arbitrary. The horrific thing happening to one character could happen to anyone. It doesn't make their story any special. Secondly, there's a lack of redemption. The characters never catch a break. The House of Men Against the Fire, the penal system of White Bear, the release of devastating information in Shut Up and Dance, the relationship in 15 Million Merits. The non-redemptive nature of the story makes it unimportant whether the characters are flawed or not, or to which degree. The lack of redemption from absurdity overshadows their entire arc. All their actions are futile. And thirdly, Black Mirror isn't sentimental. There's no connection to emotions, and if there is, it's shallow. In Playtest, the lady is nonchalantly told to make a note of the fact that Cooper called his mum before dying. In Nosedive, empathy has been reduced to whose side a person is on after a breakup. In the national anthem, the response to the Prime Minister's action is quantified into what will happen to his ratings. And lastly, the relationships become superficial and diffuse, which happens as everything is medialized on the show. Human interaction happens through technology. It sets the stage for everything, whether through grains, a generated world after death, or a virtual reality game. It renders traditional relationships so vapid they can't stand on their own. Black Mirror tears down the grand narratives of society and replaces them with futility and despair, highlighting the show as a great carrier of nihilism. Thank you for watching.